Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and after not uploading a July TBR, we're back with an August TBR, which I'm filming actually quite early. Like it's still 10 days off from the end of July. However, I am leaving for Lisbon tomorrow, so yeah. I don't think that my plans are gonna change that much in terms of what I plan on reading in August, because the two books that I'm taking with me, I think I'm probably gonna be able to finish both of them. And if you're wondering why I'm only taking two books with me for 10 days of vacation, it's because I'm going with my dad and with my little sister, so there probably won't be any time to read anyway. So yeah, let's get started with the books that I plan on reading in August. But before we get into the books that I will be reading, I have two books for my book club that I want to mention. First of all, in the Cushiel's Legacy read-along, we are now on to the second trilogy in that series. So we are now into Embryos Trilogy. We started in July, which obviously I didn't mention because I didn't have a July TBR, but in August still we're also going to be reading Cushiel's Skian because we're taking 2 months per book, because most of the book are between 800 and 1,000 pages long. I did already start this and I think I will be finishing before the end of the month, so this one's not specifically on my TBR, but I still wanted to mention it. So yeah, if you're still interested in joining us, it's hosted on my book club Discord, which I will leave linked down below. My book club is of course of Queens, Witches and Valkyries, and it's all about reading adult high fantasy written by women or genderqueer folks. One buddy read per month, or multiple buddy reads if there's like a read along going on and stuff. And yeah, so if you're interested in joining us, if you're interested even in just picking up the first trilogy still, the channels are still open and everything, so you can definitely check out the book club. And speaking of the book club, what is the buddy read for August? Actually, that's a second read along that I didn't manage to announce because I wasn't uploading anything in June, but we're also currently buddy reading the Rook and Rose series by M.A. Carrick to prepare for the publication of the third book in August, or in the middle of August. And so in July, and currently you still have time to pick it up, we're reading The Mask of Mirrors, but for August we're gonna be reading The Liar's Knot, which is the second book obviously. I am already done with both books actually, so not gonna be joining that read along again. I'm already done rereading both books, that is to say. But the reason why I read them ahead of time is because I do have an arc of the third book, The Labyrinth's Heart, and so I wanted to, you know, have those read beforehand so I can then read the arc before publication, and also there might be something else special coming soon, so yeah. But if you're interested in joining us, definitely go and check them out. And as I said, we're reading The Liar's Knot for July, which I just love everyone in the book club because they're so nice to me, and they know that we would have read them anyway because I planned the read along, but they're nice to me and are like, no Sarah, we're gonna choose those books for the poll each month, because every month around the middle of the month I'm uploading a poll for the next month, and they were nice to me and chose those books from those polls. So yeah, that's it for my book club thing. And now let's get into my actual TBR. So first, starting with rereads, I'm gonna be rereading Inkheart in July, maybe even Inkblood, or well, I'm not sure yet if I will read Inkheart or reread Inkheart, that's what I wanted to say, or just start with Inkblood, because I did reread this a few years ago, but then again, it's been a few years, so I'm not quite sure on that yet. But the reason why I'm rereading this is because in October, the new book comes out, book 4 in the Inkheart series. In German it's Die Farbe der Rache. I do not know if there's going to be an English translation or when there's going to be an English translation, but the German one is coming out in October. And yeah, I'm just very excited for it, and I wanted to reread the series first, and so I decided that's what I'm gonna do. And since it comes out in October, I want to be done by the end of September, and so yes, rereading book 1, maybe book 2, maybe both. in August. Then I have a second reread for August, and that is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, because in August is also when the second book and the last book, I think it's only going to be a duology, is going to be published, which is He Who Drowned the World. I did order the Illumicrate edition of the second book, but yeah, I did not enjoy the first book as much as I thought to when I read it back in 2021, but that also had a lot to do with just generally how my reading went in 2021. And so I decided that I'm going to reread it, and then afterwards I'm gonna dive into book 2, which probably will be on the poll for my book club for September. We'll see. The next book I have is a book that I was sent for review, and that is Starlight Jewel by E.L. Lyons. I do not know what this book is about. I could read the back of it, but I think I did read it once. Otherwise, I wouldn't have agreed to reading this, but I like to go into my books pretty blind. So yeah, it's new adult high fantasy, and it's self-published, and the author came to me and asked me if I wanted a review in exchange. If I wanted a review in exchange for a copy. No, if I wanted a copy of the book in exchange for a review, and I said yes. And so yeah, since I got it back at the end of May, and I didn't get around to reading it in June because it's not queer, and I said that I would only read queer books in June, and I also didn't get around to reading it in July, I definitely want to pick it up in August, because I just don't like having review copies for that long. And lastly, before we pick a book from my TBR jar or series TBR jar, I am finally going to read this massive chunky boy, which is good that I'm reading it in August, because in August I don't have uni, I only have work. But this is Speaking Bones by Ken Liu. This is the fourth and last book in the Dandelion dynasty, and the person that I said I was going to buddy read this with finally finished book 3, so we're gonna be able to jump right into book 4 in August, and I am so excited. This is... Actually, I think I don't mention what any of the books were about this video. Can you tell I'm kind of out of practice with my TBRs, but let me just quickly go through them. This is adult high fantasy, Asian-inspired adult high fantasy, and the first one follows a rebellion against this big empire. She Who Became the Sun is a story that is slightly inspired by the Ballad of Mulan, or has some similarities to it. It sometimes is called a Mulan retelling. It's not really. It's very loose historic fantasy, also Eastern Asian inspired. Starlight Jewel, as I said, is just new adult high fantasy. I don't know what it's about. Inkheart is about the daughter of a guy who can read things out of books. And The Mask of Mirrors and the Lie Is Not also is adult high fantasy, and it's about a con artist trying to con her way into a noble house, while there's also other stuff going on in her city. And Kushilskian, the Kushil's Legacy series, the first series, follows Phaedra, who is a courtesan spy and who kind of gets drawn into the politics of her country. And the second book then follows a different character that we're introduced to in the first series. Okay, so now the last thing left to do, as always, is pick a book from my series TBR jar, which I have right here. Once again, I need to fill it up again because I've started a few series that aren't in here so far yet. But yeah, let's see what I'll read in August. As always, this TBR jar holds all the series that are on my shelves that are unfinished, or that I've started that are unfinished and that I haven't actively decided to DNF. And let's see what I'll read in August. I have The Last Binding by Freya Marska. I think this one's still in here because I did catch up to this series, and I don't believe the third book is out yet, so I think we're gonna have to pick another one. So what's the next one gonna be? Let's see. Here I have The Legends of the Condor Heroes by Chen Yang. This is a Chinese wuxia series. I've read the first 2 books in the series so far, and yeah, I'm gonna move on to the 3rd one. I think all 4 novels have been published in English, but I think in German only the first 3 have been. And I'm gonna read it in German because that way I can get it from my library, and it's translated in any case, so it doesn't really matter if I read it in English or in German. And I've heard that the German translation is actually better. So yeah, with that said, that was it for my TBR for August. If you have any comments on any of the books that I chose, leave them in the comments down below. And as always, if you're interested in buddy reading any of the books, tell me in the comments down below as well. I'm always up for buddy reads. If you enjoyed this video, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up and also maybe subscribing. And all the links to my social media as well as to my book club are linked down below, so go and check those out. And I hope I'll see you very soon. Bye!